Oh my goodness, this took me way too long. I've not done this in a really long time. I tried to be really interesting and like get everything sorted out and like have a cool new overlay. And instead, I've delayed everything and everything's gone horribly wrong. But at least I've got one overlay. This took me way too long to fucking do, by the way. Like, this took me forever. I don't know if my audio is correct. We don't know anything. But what we do know is that it's very, very close to the ELF season. In fact, it is only 9 days away from the ELF season. I need to share out all the links of this to the channels, but I know people watch, after the fact quite a lot. So we need to go into the actual share everything out. Let's do that now. I don't know if I've got a chat overlay. I literally, everything is back to basics because I tried to change everything and I shouldn't have changed everything seconds before going live. That was maybe a bad idea. Let's put it in the Discord. Let's put it on the Instagram right here. We need to put a link. I need to actually check if the chat's coming along as well. My goodness, I have fucked this in the biggest possible way. I was meant to have done this like maybe a bit more planned would have been good, but here we are. Let's actually make sure. I should have a chat open. Should being the key word. Let's check that in a minute. Put it on Twitter, put it on Instagram. Here we go. Final power rankings of the 2020. Oh yeah, it does work. Okay, cool. Hello everyone. I am indeed back. It's been a while. Just saw colognes, everything's going on with that. Let me make the chat a little bit bigger. There we go. Now, because I wanted to, I should have planned it so much more, but here we are. We're running with it. We are running with it. Good to see everyone. Let me actually put up power rankings of the preseason. A lot has gone on since we last streamed. It's been a long time. And yes, Cologne have indeed parted with Jeremy Musa, which is sad. I actually was really looking forward to watching Jeremy play. I thought he was going to be actually quite an impact player for them. I'm kind of hoping we get to see him again in the future because he was interesting. He was definitely a player I'd like to see again in the future. So that's one of the things we'll cover. Let me get ELFopedia. We got all the rosters. We'll have a little look through them. We've got power rankings. And then I will do some week 1 matchup. Because we do... You know what? Let's maybe... Do we want to start with the power rankings? We want to start with the week 1 matchups. Probably could go with either of them, couldn't we? Honestly... Maybe we establish the power rankings. Also, I'm going to have to keep aware of that chat because, annoyingly, I've tried to change it to be black. It just doesn't work. What if I put like a black square underneath it? Will that work? Let's put a color source underneath it. Let's try this out. I know currently you can't see anything, but I'm doing a color source. We'll make it nice and small, like 30. There we go. Now you can actually see me. By 1,000, and we'll stretch it across. We'll put that over here. We'll put this over here. Right. Then we put this down there. There we go. See, this is learning on the job, if I've ever seen it. I've lost one end. Right, you know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna do that and then fit the chat into that little box. Jesus, can you tell it's been a while since I've done it? There we go. Look at that. That almost looks professionally done, even though it's not. I'm thinking power rankings before, and then we have an established view of each team. We have a lot of very, I think, interesting matchups for week 1. Some of which I think will be close, some of which I don't think will be close. We'll get into that. But maybe do we each by teams. We got for Hervar. Let's take a little look at in Droners. They've had recent additions, so they've made changes. So this won't be. Yeah, so what I believe is, I'm not breaking news here, but I believe that Akran Adam is gone, and they brought in Vincent Buffet from formerly the Paris Musketeers, also a former Leipzig king. So we'll find out. I've got a little bit on him, so it has him there. But then they have currently got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there is an E. I'm not sure which E they put. I don't know if Akron Adams gone home. I thought he had for Vincent Buffet. We'll find out. Brock Doman, we've looked at him. Solid, decent quarterback. I'm still worried about this run game. I don't see any of those backs being like top 10 in rushing yards, to be perfectly honest. I've been very vocally a big fan of their receiver core. In particular, the homegrown Sferdor, big fan of. I like Sirok, I like Nandi. Rashad Still at the American receiver. I'm a little bit like he could be a deep threat X receiver. He could be okay. I don't think he's in the top level American receiver, but he could be solid. O-line, I like Amos. I'm okay with Middleton. I wouldn't say he's my top South American guard or a tackle, but it's just the rest of that. It's not great, is it? They're going to struggle, I think, quite a lot. Defensive line, they've stacked. We know that's what they're about. We know Malik's basically a defensive end. And then the DBs, the big story is Zach and Bork being the two Serbians. They're going to be counted as homegrowns for them. And then Miles is going to be expected to take over the number one corner role, which is something I'm a little bit worried about, if I'm being honest. They, for me, are probably they're lower in the rankings. I don't think that's too controversial to say that I think they're going to struggle a little bit when it comes to competing against most people. That sounds horrible, but I think it's kind of the reality of it all. Panthers. Controversial. Very, very controversial. I'm on the fence with the Panthers. I really am. I think they have good talent. I don't think anyone's going to doubt they have talent. I just think that maybe we'll have a medium to lower medium team. Obviously, I did my whole import tier list about them. I've gone through all of them. They do still lack depth. They've got 33 active guys. They've still got 15 spots available. I would expect them to fill running back and receiver. I'm really, really worried about receiver. They've lost a lot of weapons. Offensive line, I think that Myers good young talent. El Gami, I've been really, really high on as that for a while. Defensive line, I think, is underappreciated. And I know I said, but they had a great passing. They had a terrible passing defense and a great run defense. But that isn't entirely reflective. You don't want to look at the numbers because you'll see that they had number one rushing defense last year. But that's just because teams figured out they could pass on them. I wouldn't say that this year. I really like Jordan. I think that Carlas is obviously a baller. And then Orlo is a really good, solid player as well. So they got nice looking defensive line. I think I'd add a little bit more depth to it. AJ in the middle. And then defensive back core, I'm still a little bit on edge. I like Devon, obviously. I don't know. I'm not sure if that pass defense is going to improve a ton on this one. I'm still going to go Panthers though. Here's an interesting one. Obviously, this is Irons' first ever game in Europe. He's going to be coming in. He has a okay offensive line. I don't think it's great. And then you've got the Enthroners are going all out on defensive line. So that's going to be a really interesting kind of situation. We'll see how that works, honestly. You know what I should do? I should get like, I wish I could write on screen and get a little mark. Maybe that would have been good, something to prepare. That would have been good to prepare that, perhaps. Perchance. But I should probably write it down, shouldn't I, somewhere. And then I'll make an official post maybe I'll do a little poll. Maybe when it heats up, we get a couple more people in it. I'm going to go for the Panthers, but if I'm making predictions for this, I think they win it with their run game. Let me duplicate that tab so I can actually have two things right at the same time. Shoulder injury, they try to keep from the team as far as I heard. That is interesting. It is a bummer because I really was looking forward to seeing Musa. I thought he was going to be a solid player. So right, here's my key Matt Bressington things to look out for during this first game. The interaction between the offensive line and the defensive line. Like I said, how DJ deals with his first game in Europe ever. We know American quarterbacks struggle in Europe, blah blah blah. I've heard it all before. He also does not have a lot of depth. I like Otenda. I think he's a really good receiver. I love Darryl Stewart. I like Bernat. I haven't watched too much on Krupa, but again, they just don't have guys. That's a full receiver core and one backup. Not really, even maybe, or not really, So they're lacking a lot of depth. I don't know why they haven't got Kozlowski back. He is currently playing in Poland. Really upset they haven't got him. Tight end, they're solid. Offensive line, interesting. But in Throner's pass game, because let's be real, they're going to be high passing offense. They don't have a ton of running back options. They have a lot of good receiver options versus that defensive back core. And just kind of the weapons, I guess you could say DJ and David, how they're going to contest against this defensive line is very much interesting. No, actually don't. Actually don't. That's a good segue, actually. I'm interviewing Aaron Maddox tomorrow, the defensive back for the Raiders Tyrrell. So if you guys have any questions that you want to ask the starting Raiders Tyrrell safety, then let me know. I'm assuming he's playing safety. I've got him noted as a safety, but he could honestly play anywhere across that defensive back core, but we're expecting safety. I'm going to go for Panthers. Ryan Fire versus Paris. I really want to get like a little check, which is annoying. But I don't want to have Photoshop open because it'll crash my fucking screen, which is very frustrating. Ryan Fire and Paris Musketeers. I really have been progressively more annoyed with Paris over this off-season for not revealing their roster. They do have technically more revealed now than Poland do. But it took so long for us to get here, man. Like, we've only just had a couple of them announced in the last few days. Some of them I haven't even had tape to watch on. But of course, I've heard this offensive line struggling. We saw last year they had 3 E's on the offensive line. Now they've only got 1. So clearly they believe in the French talent. Whether or not it'll work, I don't know. We'll find out. I like Gasparo. I love Lewis. I need to be proven wrong with a couple of the other starters that we'll see on that one. They've gone, obviously, for the American defensive line experiment. We don't know their other DB a week out. So when people have asked me, Matt, why have you not done more tier lists for the imports? About last year, you've done all of them, which I had, but they cut and play. Like Helvetic cut the linebacker Tom today, so that's an E gone for them. The Paris Musketeers haven't announced their American defensive back yet, so like it makes it hard when teams just aren't transparent with their teams. Strengths, obviously, we're gonna find out. I mean, look, 2 E's. We know Cadell, we know Lewis. That's it. I love Cadell. He hasn't played in 3 years, so a lot of guys I'm going to watch tape on him in the last couple of seasons. So that's going to be an interesting thing as well. They need more depth at linebacker. They have great French talent, but I imagine they're going to inject an A into that as well. Need more depth at D-line. Maybe another receiver. Great running back duo in Jalen, who, of course, we're a big fan of on this channel. 2025 roster for Ryan Fire. Very an interesting team. We talked about it so much at VBEL. You guys have heard it all before. But we have Chad Jeffries, who is one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the league. He's coming over from Munich. A good running back, well, and it's honestly a great running back room. Sergey Scott, who is an interesting prospect. Paul Brewer, TJ Alexander, Patrick Posch, like with such a good like backfield room. Still pretty stacked when it comes to receivers, but we, you know, I miss McKnight. I'm going to be honest. I do miss McKnight. Harlan Kofi's a baller if he can stay healthy. We like Justin. We like Lorek. We like Haggy. There's a couple like Jordan Brewer as well. He's in great shape. Lot to love in our receiver core. Tight end's pretty good. Offensive line's always going to be elite. You know, you have just a wall. Defensive end, I need to see tape on him. Haven't watched it yet, I'm going to be honest. But then you have Hugo, you have Jason, you have Justice. Like, there's a load of guys on this one. So this roster is still really, really stacked. Destiny is a defensive end. He's not a linebacker. More of an edge. For more Zimon, Maris Kent. Like, there's so many great players. I'm going to go for Ryan. Yeah, I'm going to go for Ryan to take the W on this one. Surprising, perhaps. But I don't know too much about Paris yet. Like, that's a tough part when it comes to this team not revealing most of their imports, as we just don't really know what they're going to look like in that department. Hamburg Sea Devils versus the Madrid Bravos. I know Kyle is going to have opinions on this one. But I think the reality of it is Madrid have too much for Hamburg. That's going to get clipped the fuck out of if they win. Hamburg, I'm still in the same boat I was a couple months ago, where I was saying I'm still worried about their German depth. Like, rookie quarterback, good running back room, some great players in the receiver core, but, you know, not the best. Good tight end. Offensive line is not great, in my opinion. Defensive line, you remove Kyle from that, and it's not good. Again, you have Kyle, so that's a good part, but I'm not a massive fan of the defensive line. Linebackers, it's all right. And then defensive backs, they're pretty good. So it's a weird one. I just don't think they have a position group you could call as the best in the league. Maybe someone will disagree, but I don't think they have any position group you could call the best in the league. And then Madrid, another rookie quarterback, but it's a very different situation. You got a rookie quarterback that didn't play in college. You got a rookie quarterback that played in the NFL. Two very, very different things. Not yet, Vienna. We haven't got to you guys yet. Well, we will. Where are you guys? You're down here, so I'm going to spare my biases for that one, to be fair. Madrid are stacked. Madrid are a sneaky team that's going to go potentially for a championship run. I do not feel like people are talking about them enough in that position. Nico Barrow is an elite running back in Europe. We know that. Receiver-wise, they got Flores Calderon, they got Aaron, they got 6'10", they got Jordy. Like, there's so much speed. There's not a ton of size in that team, which, you know, you could say they lack a true X, which they absolutely do. But they do have a lot of speed. Tight ends, I love Raul. I like Ibanez as well. Like, they got a lot of tight ends in that room who are really, really talented. Offensive line, I think, has been criminally underrated. Ningami is a baller. You got David, who's a very talented player. Carlos, a great right tackle. Brandon, who's just going to maul people at the guard position. Miguel is one of the most best athletes at the tackle position we have in Europe. Yusuraji, who's just one of the best athletes at the offensive line position. Even calling him an offensive lineman is not factually correct because he plays everywhere. And then Elvis as well. Like, they've got so much depth. I think people think this is the weakest position, but I'd argue it's better than Hamburg's by a long, long, long way. Like, you go each position. I think you take the starting player for Madrid's offensive line, and all of them are going to be better than Hamburg's offensive line. And you could arguably say that about the defensive line as well, except for Kyle. You got the Iceman. You know, they do have Mamadou as well, who I called for a breakout last year. Didn't quite have that because he's in the Dragons, which is a difficult situation. You got Pierre stepping up to be an E. Still a little bit worried about the interior defensive line. They didn't stop the run well last year, and I think that could extend to this season. And linebackers, really solid again over the board, but I don't think elite. Defensive backs, I need to watch a little bit on Witherspoon. I asked him for tape, but he aired me, which, you know, I like in Yang. I think that he's a nice player. And then you've got Pablo as well, who was one of the better young players in the entire league. So I'm going Madrid. I think convincingly. Again, I might get some pushback on that one from a certain Southern man who's currently resides their defensive end position. But that is my 17th. That's, I think, my game of the week is my game of the day. That one, definitely. I think that it will also be potentially the closest. I think that this one will be not the closest between Hamburg and Madrid. And for Hervat Throners versus Vosha Panthers, I think will be one of the most interesting ones. Just people are low on the Panthers. I'm just saying. Some people don't want to hear it. You know, I hear a lot of different things from a lot of different people in the league, from varying positions and varying opinions. People are low on the Panthers. People are low on the Enthroners, but people are low on the Panthers. People think they could be around the bottom of the league this year. So that's interesting. I'm not saying that's my opinion. My opinion is that they'll probably be lower middle. Couple of wins, couple of losses. I think they'll be worse than last season, but people are low on the Panthers. People are quite high on Ryan. People are very high on Paris, but they just need to sort their shit out in terms of revealing people. People are low on Hamburg. People are kind of lower than I think they should be on Madrid. Okay. Nordic Storm versus Helvetic Mercenaries. Oh, I have opinions on this one that people in Switzerland are not going to like. I'm expecting Jamal just to like pop up at any random point. But I do not see a way in which the Mercenaries win this game. I'm going to be honest. I do not see a conceivable game plan that would get them to win this game. First of all, they still have an E because they've released an E before the start of the year, which is nothing crazy for the Helvetic Mercenaries. Isaiah Weed is so inconsistent. I just need to see him put it together. But, you know, even in, I can't remember whose story it was, but one of the players put a story up of Keenan Colt's catch behind the hand. Great, amazing catch. But, like, the ball placement was terrible. So I'm worried about that. Stuff I've been hearing out of camp as well. You know, offensive maybe isn't moving as much as they expected it to. Running backs, they needed to get an E running back. I have no problem with it. I think Terrell's a good player. Receivers, you've got Cole, you've got Spiller, you've got nothing else. Again, maybe that's a bit harsh, but those are the very two clear-cut best players. There's some other guys that are bounced like in this team that are solid receivers, but those two unquestionable. They don't really play with the tight end much, but offensive line, I'm doubtful. They got 3 E's, which I think is fine, but I'm a little doubtful on the offensive line. And when Weed doesn't have it on the offensive line, he struggles a lot more. This is just fact. The defensive line, they do have potential. You got Big Mike, who is a very solid defensive tackle / defensive end. You got RJ, that I do not think is going to play as much as people think he's going to play. A lot of people are like, oh my god, they got a Penn State defensive end. Like he's got an offer from Division 1 school. Absolutely. You think he's going to play a full season? If he's got an offer from Penn State? Maybe he will. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. But I just don't see it. I think he'll play. I just think he'll play sparingly. Maybe he'll play only home games. Maybe he won't travel to away games as much. You know, he's still a young guy. So he has to think about his future. And I think he will not be playing against like the best. Maybe he'll go travel, test himself against some of these offensive linemen that played in the NCAA. Just get a feeling of it. Maybe that'll be a good idea for him. Linebackers, Timothy Sherman, it's definitely the highlight. The rest of them, I don't have a ton of belief in that they'll be elite. Defensive backs, I've gone on about it forever. Not a massive fan of the core. I've heard actually though that Jock's doing really well as a safety in camp. I will admit. when things that are going on in camp that aren't necessarily my opinion are still happening, like people have been saying he's doing well, so that's pretty cool. Nordic, speaking of things I'm hearing. Any info why Helvetic haven't signed any eligible? See, I was just talking about this today. For those that don't know, I talk to my mum a lot about the ELF. And I'll probably get her to make some predictions at some point on my thing. I think it's a money thing. I don't know, 100%. Of course, not going to put air out their business, but it's expensive to get guys in. Of course, I do not know why they haven't signed any of them. Even just guys for depth, Italian offensive linemen. There's a couple of talented ones, Italian defensive backs, a couple of good ones over there as well. Like, I agree. You see Vienna, they've made a big impact. Shadrach Arthur as an offensive lineman could have slotted in nicely into this team as a solid starter. Sarah could have been a fucking baller. I love Andre Sarah. I'm going to be talking about him tomorrow. Why didn't do it? I don't know. But Helvetic, they don't. I mean, me and them have some disagreements when it comes to squad building. Speaking of things I've heard during camp, though, I've heard that Nordic Storm's offense has been, not great. I'm gonna be honest. I've heard there's not been firing on all cylinders just yet from sources, secondhand sources. I'll give you that. But Jadrian MVP, Glenn MVP. This is a John Shoop offense. You'd expect it to be very, very heavily pass. I'm not expecting a ton of run game for them, to be honest. Think of that as you will. Speaking of receivers, elite group, a great group, maybe not elite, very, very talented group. People were saying Fawn's going to be a lot like Kofi was in the Ryan Fire system. Probably agree. He's a different player, but it's a solid comparison. And they need more depth, though. They've only got 5 guys. I'd like to see more of that. You say that, though. Basically, Moreno's a receiving tight end. Steinhauer can do both. Offensive line's where I've heard little things. Offensive line, maybe not the most elite. I do like Ludwig Burrell. I do like Victor Newman as a prospect. I do like Christensen a lot, just as a player. So I think their offensive line will be fine. But the big thing for them is missing out on 2 of the best offensive linemen in the league that both happen to be Swedish or Danish. Because they lost on Steven Nielsen and they lost on Victor Stoffel. Like, they didn't get either of those guys, and both of those guys could have been real impact guys. Defensive line is strong. Emil Hoevda, Benjamin's a solid player that's played in the league for a couple of years. Max Parkinson's a great athlete, just needs to put together the fundamentals. Linebacker, big Ludwig Myron fan, obviously. David, though, has been lighting it up, I hear. I was hot on him before he went into the league, I'm just saying. And then Hugo, all-star. Falala, great athlete. I just need to see him again, kind of similar to Max. 2 very, very good athletes. What's up, you 11pedia? Glad I'm stealing your work. I need to get like an animation at the bottom which just shows all the logos of the people that I use. That is something I'm working on, don't worry. Falala and Max, both of those guys are great, phenomenal, all European athletes. We just need to see them put the football together and become what we know they could be, which is high-level players. Defensive back, though, is super strong. All-star, pretty sure. Yeah, excellent all-star. So, a lot to like. We've got a lot of athleticism in that defensive back core they didn't originally have in that defensive back core if you just load it with homegrown. So it's a very strong team. I think that they will handle Helvetic pretty easily. I think that we'll see a couple turnovers from the offense, and I think it'll be an easy game for them. Especially away. Good way to kick it off. Oh, Berlin Thunder versus Cologne. Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? They lose the quarterback just before the start of the year. 9 days before the start of the year, 10 days, and they announced it yesterday, I think. But, man, that just sucks, doesn't it? They're going to run with a German quarterback. I'm not sure if it's Fleming or if it'll be Jan. Jan Weinweg would be cool. But, yeah, they have missed on a lot of guys. Honestly, like if we take a step back to Nordic, we go on like Sweden? Will it tell us the rosters? Yes, it will. Like they lost on Oscar Stromstad, I don't think would start over Victor Stoffel. So, like, that's not a big deal. Would have been a good depth piece, sure, but Victor is obviously the most talented player. And they lost on Steven, which is a big one. It would have been helpful for them to have Marco and Milos. But again, I don't think they would have started over Chad and X or Glenna. So like, yeah, Jordan Demarquis a big one now. I mean, they never say never, right? There's still time. Still got a couple of days towards the year. Like I said, some of them haven't announced. They do still have. You can have 48 players who game their roster. So there's still 6 guys they could announce. And if they do get Jordan, that would be incredible. What's up, Alex? Good to see you, man. it's a big team. So they got a lot of the guys, but they definitely missing a few. We could see Jordan come in, but that'd be a dangerous line. Imagine that linebacker core. If you add Jordan Demarquis into that linebacker core, that'd be incredible. So maybe we'll see it. Maybe we'll see it. But this is a big one, right? Yeah, I know. I just saw that. I haven't watched a ton of his tape, but I know that he's an absolute savage. Oh yeah, Azan Zyberg as well. Good point. I actually know rumors about where Azan will play. So, but Cologne's one. I'm not sure if they'll go after Jan or if they're gonna run with. Is there a tape on Fleming? Let me just see. Don't mean to out him like this, but oh yeah, he's a Euro player. He's 21 years old. The fact says quarterback and receiver is worrying. Smaller guy. I don't think they'll run with him as the starting quarterback. No disrespect. I just don't see that being the guy they run with at the start. They'll probably try and get in someone like Jan or maybe poach someone like Mac or Rodan. Yeah, they could do it. I don't think it'll work, but they could do it. Running back room. I mean, these guys are going to get a lot of work in this game. Oh man, it's just not a team, is it? I don't mean to piss off Cologne fans, but it's a terribly built team. I'm going to be completely transparent. It's a terribly built team. I do not like the decisions they made with anything. I still have tape to watch on some guys like Kirk, and apart from that though, Osborne. It's a solid receiver, I actually quite like. Ivan, though, he's coming up from, I believe, the 5th tier of Spain, 5th tier of Germany. He might be great. I'm not sure, but not from what I've seen. I'm not expecting too much. Italian fullback, and he is tough one. Vitor, he's fine. German, Brazilian regional tackle. Numari is a solid D tackle. He's a decent D tackle. He ain't an offensive lineman though. Not sure what they're gonna do with him because one of my notes on was that he's not particularly a 4-down defensive tackle or a 3-down defensive. I say 4 because just he doesn't deal well with sustained drives. Now you're gonna put him on for both of them. I don't know. Jai, I like Jai. I think Jai's a good signing. But he's a pass rusher, and pass rusher is kind of a luxury position, isn't it? Like, you have a great defensive line, you can afford to bring in an pass rusher because he's just going to be able to disrupt. We saw with him Cologne a couple of years ago when they had him at defensive end, they were just double teaming him. I mean, he couldn't get much done, and I envision with this line that that'll be the same, to be honest. Maybe they'll send Franz off the edge, but if they do send Franz off the edge, and they got fucking two linebackers. Sure. Sure. And then defensive backs, it's fine. It's not great. It's not good. Nickel, solid nickel, I think. Will be good nickel if they do make a Dutch team in the future, I think. He's a decent athletic defensive back. He was, 99? Above bench straight? I like Richard. Solid player, but I want to put him above bench straight. So, that's them. And then, honestly, it doesn't, I don't mean to be rude, it doesn't get a ton better. It gets better, but not a lot. Cologne falls in a month. I would really be upset if that was the case, to be honest. Like, I don't like the way they built their team, but I'd hate to see them just die off. That would be kind of a sad situation. Berlin Thunder, though, they've still not announced all of their guys. Not sure what they're going to do with this. But they do have Adams, which is now an E. It's interesting. I'm actually kind of happy. I think it was a solid signing. But, like, he was such a receiver last year, though. Like, it was strange. Honestly, dead ass. Dragons. let's just go. Let's just go. I need to search it out, don't I? I think you just saw like my Steam name, by the way, which is like Papaman25. I was like 12 when I set it up. You know, don't ask questions. Okay, let's go Dragons last year. So Grant Buchler, currently over the non-factor of the Cologne quarterback. I'm taking Grant. He was actually all right. Running backs. I'll take. Oh man, it's actually kind of tough. Adom's all right. Hansber's all right. Tony Monton. No, I'm taking Dragons. They're currently 2-0. Receivers. Oh man, that was a group, wasn't it? That was not a good group. Holy shit. They got American. I quite like. So you know what? I'm gonna go for Cologne. I'm gonna go for Cologne on that one. Tight end. They actually didn't have a tight end on that team, so Cologne. They get another one. You know, that's 2-2. Offensive line. Man, that was that was not a good offensive line. Neither is this one. You know what? I'll give it to Cologne. Just about. I'll give it to Cologne. So we're up 3-2. Defensive line. I mean, they've only got 4 guys there. I like Mamadou. I'm gonna give that. I'm gonna give that to Dragons. I'm gonna give that to the Dragons. That's what I'm thinking. 3-3. Linebackers. They had Caesar. They had Caesar. These guys don't have. I'm gonna go for the Dragons. And defensive backs. You know who's good? It was Eric Garcia, solid player. I liked him. Jordan Brigani. The Centurions. I might go Centurions. That's what, 4-4? All right, that's pretty close. It's closer than we expected. But I'm still gonna go for the Dragons. I generally think that they will be better, and they got beaten 70-0. So tough. Brian Dunder on the other hand, better than both of those teams combined. Sullivan, good player, very good player. Not tough at quarterback to me, but he is to some other people, being Kyle Kitchens. Running backs is actually solid. They got Adams. I think that's a good sign-in. If they haven't as an E, I think that's a good sign-in to pair with Emil. Receivers, a lot of speed. Bryce Goggins, good player. Tyler Foster's a young up-and-comer. Byers, I'm a big fan of. Sherman, I'm a big fan of. Maybe another bit of depth. Nikolai Schumann, again, one of the best tight ends in the league. Offensive line, currently don't have a full offensive line. I imagine they're probably going to get another E there. Probably. Connor Bolton. I like Connor Bolton, if he can stay healthy. Ariza, he's fine. Solid, okay player. Defensive ends, or defensive line rather. My lights just died, so you're going to see me just be in the dark for a second, because that has just completely died. Fun times. Grossman Klein, good player. William Lytle, I love William Lytle. One of my favourite defensive tackles. Probably the best defensive tackle in the league. Actually, I wasn't sure he was going to be officially announced, but he is apparently. I've been so out of sync with my master stuff that I've forgotten who's actually announced. That's why I'm looking at ELFpedia, not my own notes, just so I don't actually leak anything. Neville Kruger as well. I think his defensive line is actually pretty solid now with the addition of Will Lytle. Linebackers, haven't had a ton of tape on him just yet. Need to get into it. I like Marcelo, but maybe not the most elite linebacker yet. You know, he could be more of a outside guy. And then they haven't announced a ton. But Joshua, bit of a throwback 21 All-Star, pretty sure. He might not be an All-Star, but he was definitely good. Injuries have kind of halted that, though. And they got Felix, who's fine. He's an okay player in the league. He would have been a kind of guy if I was the Mercs. I would have been hard trying to go after Felix, but you know they didn't. Well, maybe they didn't. I'm gonna go Berlin. I think it should be rather easy for them, to be honest. This one's super interesting. Whoever the league schedule maker is, they did a real good job with this one. This one's such an interesting matchup. Oof. Munich Ravens or Raiders Tyrrell? Munich Ravens or Raiders Tyrrell? Munich Ravens or Raiders Tyrrell? I'm leaning. My brain says Raiders. But Munich have been gradually improving a little bit. They got a big roster too. They've actually announced all of their roster, including the practice squad, whereas the Raiders are also pretty stacked. So let's break down. Russell Tabor, you have rookie. He's got a good run game now. Sam Namadi, Justin Rodney, solid little 1-2 there. Receivers, got Malik Stanley, just a baller, Myron Rouge as well. Great. Tight ends, Philip Conwu. I've heard really good things. He's going to be on my breakout list. I eventually fucking make the breakout list. I mean, I promise I am making things, but oh my god, this master's kicking my ass. I do, yes. I think it was Dolphins Bengals. I'm pretty sure. I can't actually remember it there. But I know they played in some preseason games. Offensive line, a lot of Brits, which I'm happy with. It's such a weird thing seeing them with a offensive line that isn't coached by Joe Thomas. But I'm not really sure who's going to start. It's interesting because they got Garrett Brandt, who's at starting level, Roman, who's starting level. They got Daniel, Harry, and CK, who are obviously easy to expect them to start. And they got Dominic Hunter. So, well, I don't really know who's going to be playing where. Or if they're just going to go with like mega big packages and just run fucking 6 linemen for half the game. I mean, they could. It would be a good little protection plan for to keeping Russell safe. That's for damn sure. Just we could put 6 linemen, tell Malik just to go long. Like, not bad. Oh, that's a sick idea. I like that idea. That's a good idea. He needs to stay healthy. Ed to at least to stay healthy. Too many games missed in the last couple of years, like to make make any kind of impact. If I'm being real, I love him, but he needs to make strides to stay healthy. And he's an interior defensive lineman, but you know we'll find out. He's got his one next to him, so maybe he'll have a little bit more support on the interior line. He's got Ioannis coming off the edge, so it's a nice defensive line. It's not elite, but it's pretty good. Got some nice tools. Dexter, fine. You know, I'm always a bit iffy now with the guys they call linebackers for mid-range rushes, but they do have the defensive line to afford a rush. Linebacker-wise, though, I do think he's probably the weaker position in the team. I like Nazary. Good player. But I'm not massively convinced yet with the linebacker core, if I'm going to be honest. Defensive backs, though, strong. You know, Nitz, big fan of. Cole Coleman, athletic as fuck. Should be better this year than he was last year. Nico's a good nickel player. They've just got some solid pieces. I do still think I'm leaning towards the Raiders. I think the Raiders are going to be a bit of a surprise team. And the Raiders are interesting. Connor Miller, which a lot of people were like, oh, Connor Miller's, he's fine, he's okay, but he's not going to blow the roof off the place, which I agree, but he fits this scheme so well. He fits. The more I've thought about it, the more I've really liked Connor Miller of the Raiders. It just kind of works. He is a short, intermediate, kind of take your time, make the right decisions, conservative quarterback, which fits the Raiders kind of culture, I think, from outside perspective looking in. And then you got the running backs, which are just clearly the best. The way the Raiders is the running back. So he isn't going to be forced to make 30, 40 throws a game. That's just not what they're going to need him to do. I think he'll get 20 throws and he'll have 25, 30 rushes a game. I just don't see them needing that a ton. It just makes sense. Exactly. It just makes sense. They have possession receivers in Marco, Platzgummer, Hahn, all those guys, even Bruno to an extent. Possession guys that can just make the catch. They're not going to burn you with these crazy speed or crazy route running or unbelievable athleticism. They're just going to catch the fucking ball, and sometimes that's what you need. Solid players. All of them. And I like Philip Hunt a lot. He's a lot more than just a guy that catches the ball, but you get what I mean. Ja'Cory Sullivan, who's one of the newcomers I'm the most hot on, I think that he could be a really good player for them. He is that X. He's a big, dominant, physical with the ball. He's just kind of a real true number one, in my opinion, where they've kind of struggled to have a true number one X outside guy. Tight ends are strong with Scheibel and Weber. It's 2 good tight ends. Offensive line is better than last year. They got Thomas, who's good. They got Tobias, who's a savage. Oscar was better than I thought he was going to be. Isaiah was much better than I thought he was going to be. He really did make strides last offseason. Did really, really well. Pepper's one of the best in the league. Like, the offensive line's just unanimously better. Defensive line, interesting. Like, it's interesting. They got... I'm not sure what's going on with Desan. I don't know if he's staying or going because they got in Vandercroft. I don't know what's going on with that. They got Paz, who is a younger guy that I'm seeing if he can step up to be an E. Because the tape that I've seen personally, I wouldn't have signed him as an E. Like, if he went to Madrid, no questions. But I'm a little bit like, can he be an E? You know, we'll find out. But I'm not seeing what the... actually had a video in production about him, but just kind of got lost in the shuffle. Like, I'm not seeing exactly either way of the coaches on that one. But I think it's Micah. He's really fun good. I'm actually excited to see him play. I think it's going to be solid. I don't think it was their choice. From what I heard around the organisation, I think that he's trying to go back to the States. I don't know why. Same with Nkosi. I think he's got a kid back home who want to go back, which is fair. Calbucci, good player to get in as a homegrown. You've got a weaker linebacker core than Munich. Like, I don't think either linebacker core is elite, but Munich probably got better. Maddox, I'll interview tomorrow. Wolves, I like a lot. Still, I think maybe they'll both play corner. I think both of them will probably play corner. You know, Maddox is more of a true safety. I think they might play him a little bit corner. So, you know. Yeah, he was such a ball. I actually love Devin Taylor. Devin Taylor is one of my favourite corners in the league last year. Like, I was such a Devin Taylor fan. I mean, I made a video about him. Like, I'm such a Devin Taylor fan. This was definitely be the closest one of this... probably the closest one of this day. But I'm gonna go for Raiders. I'm gonna go for Raiders. And I like Munich. I think they're gonna have a solid season. But I prefer the Raiders at this current point. Prague versus Vikings. I know a lot of people would expect me to be biased. I'm not. I'm not gonna be biased. I know I helped build the team. I am really excited to see Prague though, because this is like the first team I had a hand in building, like truly had a hand in building. Of course, over the last couple of years, I've been advising and helping out where I can, or we need a receiver, we'll send you a bit of money, can you send us a board? Sure, like I've done that. But this is a team I actively had an impact on, so I'm really excited about this. It's a big point in my life, I feel. So, Javarian has a lot to prove. Former really good player in the GFL, didn't step up very well last year. So he has a lot to prove. No question about it. Zuleka needs to stay healthy. I think they need more depth at running back. Yeah, we'll find out. Actually, don't work with him anymore, by the way, because overlap within the season. Redeem, baller. Lucas, baller. Joseph, baller. Jamela, I've heard a lot of really good things about. Good player. Woody Patterson, who I think is a great receiver in the league. The receiver core is really good. The running back is really good. Javarian has the weapons. He also has good tight end in Martin. It just comes down to him and the offensive line, obviously. But the offensive line is so much improved from last year. You got the Burgess brothers, they're solid players. You got Jasper, who is just, he's probably on the cusp of being that like truly great starter. And Lucas, who is an athletic lineman that perhaps they can unlock his ability. So it's a good group. It's not Rhine, it's not Vienna, but it's a good group. It's much improved. Defensive line, I like Danik, I like Starry, I like Smudny. That's a really solid homegrown unit. I think it's going to be really important. Now, the defensive line, man, I'm telling you, that defensive line, I'm thinking it could be good. Yeah, maybe not stopping the run. I think they'll struggle stopping the run a little bit. But like, Danik and Starry are good pass rushers. A good defensive end. And Jakob is an all-star level defensive tackle. I'm a big fan of Jakob. After watching that game against France, I know it wasn't the French starters, but after watching that game against France, I was convinced that he could be an all-star. Linebacker, a little bit weaker, but Arthur is a really good young talent. But overall, across the board, it's probably a weaker position. If you had an extra E that you didn't have to put an offensive line, you probably would put a linebacker. But I'm really excited for Arthur. I think he's going to be a baller. Really like Ken Hike and Jalen. Of course, I've done a video about that pairing. Love them. Don't need to talk about it that much. But I think that's a killer one duo. One of the best duos in the league. And then French just kind of fills the hole that Borkovic left. So it's a really good team. I'm thinking, spoiler alert, I think they're going to lose this one. I think a win here, a win here, a win here, a win here. Like, they could, realistically, they could be 1, 2, 3. They could be 4-1. Like, and it's not unbelievable. It's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that they could be 4-1. I'm just saying. Vienna, probably the favourite for the league right now. Spoiler alert, I probably would have them at number 1 in my power rankings. I might not be able to do power rankings this one. I'll do a quick flash power rankings. Ben Holmes, one of the best in the league. Kari, 1,000-yard rusher. Receivers, you got Reese Owen, Noah Torre, Yannick Meyer, Andres Serra, Maurice, who's a really good player that's coming out of that. Veteran player. Johannes Schultz. Like, they've just got so much. Like, they really do. And you got Florian, you add to that, and it's like, oh my god. And then the offensive line, like, they've got so many great players. Oh shit, here we go. Vienna. I mean, you tell me, no? That would be kind of the job of you to tell me, I believe. I think he's actually still with the NFL, but it would be good to see him kind of come out. I'm pretty sure he's still with. I'm actually going to check, see what contract he's on. I'm looking at the Cardinals tight end who is Austrian. I'm just seeing if he's technically signed. Okay, he's signed for 2025. He's currently on a deal. So no. It's my answer, Vienna Vikings social team. No. So I do not think you'll have him come in because he is still signed. So a 1-year contract with the Arizona Cardinals. But damn, that'd be really, really cool. Vienna likes tight end depth. I mean, sure. But like, if tight end depth is the biggest issues, oh shit, they might have. Damn, I mean, it said that he. I mean, shit, if he has Vienna, you telling me that why me and Vienna flirting on? if he has, then you got to tell me if he's coming back to Europe, because that would be game breaking. And if they have him and Bierbaum, I don't want to Bernhardt. I don't want to like ruin his last name. I believe it's Sekovitz, but I don't actually know. Seiko, yeah. So if they do get him in with Florian, that would be something. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if they get Seiko? Holy fuck. I don't even. Oh my god, that'd be crazy. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's nasty. And then Flo, and Seiko, and Yannick, and Noah, and Reese, and Carrie. Like, holy fuck. No, you have not missed a surge. Like, that might be the best offensive unit we've ever seen. Lucas Hart, one of the best offensive tackles. You got David, who's just criminally underrated. Pascal, I think, is actually going to be... actually, you have quite a high grade on Pascal when he was at the Dragons. I'll be interested to see if he steps up this year. Stoffel, he's a fucking cow guy and Temple guy. Clements, also a solid player. And yeah, you got Florian Wiegand as well. Really good player. Shadrach, seen him play for years. I think he's going to be another player that like leaves out Bristol and has a little bit of success because like he wasn't great pride. He has some he needs to calm the fuck down. I like Shadrach. I like Shadrach a lot. He needs to calm the fuck down though. I've seen him get heated in games, just needs to relax. Jan Philip Bombeck, one of the best pass rushers when he can stay healthy. And then see if you remember like maybe not actually at this point. A long time ago, I was looking at this page when we were watching one of Vienna Vikings games, and he said about Grunstadel, and I was like, he's a really good young player, right? And I googled it, and he's not, because he's like 40 odd, because it's Florian Grunstadel. I was like, I could swear, like I was watching a guy on tape, and his name was Grunstadel, and he played for Vienna. Yeah, that's his son, Max. So we got a father-son duo at the defensive line position, which is just interesting, really, really cool. Thomas Schaefer, killer. Like, Ensu Mensah, great addition for the Italian, like, free players they essentially get. Noah Swankor. They haven't got fucking oh my god, why am I blanking on his name? He's gonna kill me. Oh my god, why am I blanking? Hold on, let me go on the roster. Actually, no, well, I could do last year's one. Talitsa. Sorry, Talitsa. They haven't re-signed Talitsa publicly yet. Maybe they will. I hope they do. I like Nicky. But they got Leon Savage, really underappreciated guy. And then Nuka Timmy's back, which I'm excited about. He's gonna be in the inside. Really do want to have Talitsa with him though. Lado can move him around the defense. There we go. Let's see the comps coming in for Talitsa now. Lado, you can move around the defense so easily. He can play at nickel, can play at safety, can play at corner. I think he's best at like outside linebacker nickel role because he's so big. He's like 6'4" safety. Ben Straight, all-star. Who's a decent young corner, especially for homegrown. Don't think he's going to be playing a ton of corner this year though. He'll probably be playing a little bit more as a backup to Divine and to Amani. I think both of those are going to be playing corners. Divine can kind of play everywhere, play safety or corner. Really good at both. Amani I haven't seen a ton of because he's coming from the North America, so I expect that he would be playing corner. Yeah, so if I did have to pronounce it on your left live, I believe it's Misan Gumkuni. I don't know if that's actually right, but like I gave it a go when we were on the left live, and they had a really good week one time, and I tried on the left live for it, but I think I probably mispronounced it. And he got Tasic, which is a good kicker. So, although I love Prague, realistically he's gone to Vienna. And in the last game, Marcus came in for the exact right time to look at the last game. Frankfurt Galaxy and Stuttgart Surge. And of course, I have a little bit of beef with the Galaxy because they said I didn't know my stuff. I don't see anyone else putting their stuff out like I do, but I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it. The first time I actually saw that, so I got that sent to me from Maxi, and I was so pissed. I was so, I know it's like lighthearted and everything, but like, oh my god, I was so pissed. Like me, I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, firstly, it was two people that did that. Like, it wasn't just me. Secondly, I don't mean to be that guy, but I know a lot of things about European football, so I feel like that was an unjustified shot. Maybe I'm overreacting a little bit, but it maybe heated. Surge. You know what? Actually, I'm going to keep Marcus's retention. We're going to start with the Galaxy. Matthew McKay, if he can stay healthy this year, is a great quarterback. Just, he broke his leg. It's a big injury. We need to see if he can come back from that. And that's kind of the whole of the Galaxy team is they could be really good. Well, they could all get injured. Matthew McKay, really good player, could get injured. Jared Allen, really good player, could get injured. Sandro Pascoma, really good, could get injured. Nico Straman, I think he's had injuries. I might be lying there. Offensive line could be really, really good if they all stay healthy. Like I was doing a report card, and the first team I've started with is the Galaxy. I gave like A minus, A plus. I gave them like an A for their receivers because I do like Nico, I do like Kevin a lot. Terry Wright's going to be a good player. I like Paul as well. I like Norman Shum. Like, they got a lot of really good, interesting players. Tight end, I think I give it like a C minus. I don't think they're going to be using tight ends that much. Offensive line, you got Keanu, you got Steven. Both of them are ballers. Yannick's a good player. You got Dimitrios, a good player. Ton to like on the offensive line. And defensive line, it's okay. I like the Pinter signing from Cologne. I think that he's a really underappreciated player. I like Perez as well. I think that he's a really underappreciated, quick defensive tackle, very athletic. It's okay. It's not great. It's not elite. Galaxy, it's alright. The linebacker core, like, it's okay. Ashant's a solid player. I think that Dan Josiah, I think Toby Naylor, both solid players, but not like an elite unit. And then the defensive backs, big fan of Shaheem, really big fan of Channing. And I think those two would be your corners, probably both of them. Kleinman could be good if he just gets faster. Finn is a good young player. He's not going to start. Kareem has potential to be a good nickel. And then Enrico Chagoya was a good safety last year. I think he was a bit of a underappreciated rookie. I think he was eligible for Rookie of the Year, didn't get mentioned once, but I think he's a solid player. And Sebastian Brandt is a good safety, really good special team player. So they got some solid group. Serge, Riley, one of the best in the league. This is a home game for them, like if they get to the championship game, so they really do want to push for that. Riley's a baller. Running back wise, they got a very interesting room because they got Kai, who's a good player. They got Leon, who's a fullback, very good fullback. Toa and Albert are both receiving backs, both fit into that same mold, and I think that's going to work really, really well. Like, I love Toa, and he looks built too. Receiver-wise, they got Lewis. I can't help but feel Mitch force their hands to reveal Lewis, because it was not revealed when he said that they signed him. And me and Nick both knew that he had signed, just because, Nick's close to the organization. I'm me, so I know a few signings that haven't been announced. So when he said, "Oh yeah, we got Lewis," me and him, you kind of look, and if you look at the broadcast, we both kind of like look at the small image that we have of the producers, and we both just kind of go, "Oh fuck," because we leaked basically their information. People caught up on that. That's funny. Jeff Cotton, people seem to be underappreciated Jeff Cotton a little bit. I've heard a little bit, people are like, oh, why are people not talking about Jeff Cotton as a top 5 receiver? So he could break out. And then Daniel Pedro, who has such a high ceiling as well. So I want to see basically Lewis as the X. Jeff can kind of play wherever because he can play wherever. And then Pedro is another outside option. And then Roberto Miranda is just a player that you just move from tight end to receiver. I think he could be just not from tight end to receiver, but, as a receiving tight end, I think it could be really impactful. We'll see. There's not a ton of tape on him, to be honest. Offensive line, though, just savagery. You got Alessandro, who I love. You got the Joker, who I love. No, the Jackal, sorry. Jackal. Luka Jokel, the Jackal. Baller. You got Marcus, who's a solid player. You got Lucas Meyer, who's a really good player. Marlon Worthman, who's a really good player. Like, they've just got loads on the line. And then defensive line, Chris Malumba, my favourite D-tackle in the league, probably. And you also got Robert Lackman and Bilal Garuba. So you've got 2 really good pass rushers and a really, really good interior line. Linebacker is definitely the weakest. I don't think anyone's going to doubt that. Honestly, linebacker in today's league is actually kind of a weak position, kind of across the board. That last EO I'd probably spend on that. Whether or not there are that many available, I don't know. But I would probably get what I do now. I recommended some to Mitch just from a pre-course. I should go out to this guy. Wink, wink. But, we'll find out, see what happens with them. And then defensive backs, super underappreciated group. I mean, he still might. I don't think that dream is gone yet, to be honest. I really like Marco as well. I think that he could, I think he could be talked to coming back, potentially. They got Lasse, they got Constantine, who are both underappreciated. They got Raheem and Mitch, who are just 2 of the best. Delavecchia is just like a good player to have in that locker room. He just seems to know what he's doing, and he's a solid player. And then Wentzer and Wenzelberger are also really good. So this one's a tough one, but I'm probably going to go Serge for this. Honestly, I might have changed. I gave my predictions like today to Football and to First Time Magazine. I'm pretty sure they might be different, but Panthers, Fire, Bravos, Storm, Berlin, Thunder, Raiders Tyrrell, Vienna Vikings, and Stuttgart Surge, I think would be my ultimate show. If we're doing power rankings, just very quickly, I mean, I'm gonna have to have maybe I'll do a separate stream for power rankings because this one's gone for nearly an hour, and I want to keep it to an hour, but we'll do power rankings on a separate stream, maybe tomorrow. Depends on if I get my master stuff done on time, but that will be our week 1 predictions. I'll probably do this every week, just because the videos I used to do pre weeks in the last season took forever to edit. So I'm just probably going to do like a stream so I can just talk to people. It's more interesting if we can talk together and look at the schedule. So that'll be it. I'll see you guys tomorrow for ELF Live, 11 a.m. my time, Aromatics will be interviewed, so if you want to DM me questions to ask Aromatics, go ahead. Should be a good interview. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for tuning in. I know I've been gone for a long time, but I do appreciate it. Like, I'm doing my masters at the moment. We're very close. I literally have submitted one today. I submitted my my social media one today, and I've got my search engine optimization marketing strategy that I've done about 300 words of the 3,000 words that I have to do for that. So I'm making progress. Like, I've done so much. Like, it's been a craze. I'll be back and forth from Swansea to see my girlfriend as well. So, like, oh my gosh, like, website design was good. Finished that. I've got like a little whiteboard I've just crossed out. So the support, even though I've been gone for over a month, has been really, really good. And I've been active on Instagram, I know, but I'm yapping. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, and